Welcome to Raise Up New. I'm Jawad Ali, and today we dive deep into one of the most pressing what-if scenarios in modern geopolitics. What if the war between Iran and Israel had escalated without a ceasefire and the United States had stayed completely neutral? How would it have changed the face of not just the Middle East, but the entire world? Let's analyze it carefully. Fire 1. Could Israel sustain a long-term war with Iran? Absolutely not. It would have been extremely difficult for Israel to fight a prolonged war with Iran without U.S. support. Iran is a large country with deep regional influence, particularly in Iraq, Syria, Lebanon, via Hezbollah, and Yemen, via the Houthis. Israel would face not just Iran directly, but a powerful proxy network attacking from every side. Israel's army is advanced, but lacks the manpower and logistical depth for a multi-front, drawn-out war. Iran's geography and size make ground invasion almost impossible. Iranian drones and missile technology could cause significant damage inside Israel. Bomb 2. Would Israel continue attacks on Gaza like before? Highly unlikely. A full-fledged war with Iran would stretch Israel's military thin, leaving few resources for Gaza. Iran would directly support Hamas militarily, emboldening resistance. Hezbollah would attack from the north, while Hamas hit from the south. Israel couldn't afford to handle both fronts aggressively. This would have greatly strengthened Gaza's position in the conflict. Money with wings. 3. Would Israel's economy remain stable? Not all. War expenditures would skyrocket, running into hundreds of billions. Tourism, high-tech exports, and foreign investment would freeze. The Tel Aviv Stock Exchange would crash, and the shekel would weaken. Except for defense industries, most sectors would suffer severe losses. The middle class in Israel would bear the brunt of the economic collapse. Ballot box with ballot. 4. Would people still support Netanyahu? No. Support would likely fade as the war dragged on. Public anger would rise amid deaths, economic hardship, and constant insecurity. Netanyahu was already under heavy criticism domestically. In prolonged conflict, protests would increase. Political instability could force Netanyahu to resign or be voted out. Stop sign 5. Would Iran just quietly back off? Definitely not. Iran considers Israel its primary enemy under its resistance axis doctrine. It would fully activate Hezbollah, Hamas, and the Houthis. Iran's strategy relies on precision missiles, proxy warfare, and political pressure. A U.S.-free battlefield would be a golden opportunity for Iran to press harder and strengthen its narrative in the Islamic world. Dove 6. Would Iran back down voluntarily? No. Without U.S. interference, Iran would have no reason to back down. Iran could maximize military pressure on Israel. The narrative of defending Islamic lands against aggression would gain global sympathy. Iran's influence in the region would increase. It could potentially unite segments of the Muslim world under its leadership, despite Shia-Sunni divides, through its stance on Palestine. Crossed swords. 7. Would Iran lose and end up like Iraq or Palestine? Unlikely, especially without U.S. involvement. Israel's strike capabilities are powerful, but Iran has strategic depth and massive landmass. Iran would employ asymmetric warfare, not classic tank battles. Iran's proxies would keep Israel engaged on multiple fronts. A long war would devastate both nations, but Iran wouldn't face a complete collapse like Iraq or Palestine. Globe showing Europe-Africa. 8. What if the U.S. gave no support to Israel at all? That would change global dynamics completely. Israel would find itself isolated. Iran might gain international sympathy as a sovereign nation under attack. Israel's military assets would deteriorate over time. U.S. influence in Middle East would drop sharply. A new power axis, Russia, China, and Iran, would rise. The Muslim world's confidence would grow, reshaping regional alliances. In arrow final thoughts. If the United States withdrew support from Israel, Israel would suffer far more than it would gain. Iran would become stronger regionally and diplomatically. The Palestinian narrative would grow in power. Global double standards would be exposed. A new political map would emerge, with Israel weaker and more isolated than ever before. Direct hit, this scenario may just be a geopolitical what if, but its consequences could have reshaped the very foundation of today's world order. Bellhop Bell, thanks for watching Raise Up New with me, Jawad Ali.